then we get the Jake and Nog hug. That I think that's what you're talking about with the reunion, right?
Yeah, it was just great to see that because it felt like we were genuinely kind of going to miss each other. And I felt like that was almost the strongest bond of a revelation of the bond that we had, us exposing that, we would miss each other. We really felt this way about each other. And more so even for Nog's character, because I feel like he reveals that, he's saddened by the separation.
He's got separation anxiety already.
Well, yeah, and it was funny. They said the Rio Grande and the Ganges; those were the two escape ships that we were on.
Was it? That's rivers in Brazil and India.
Exactly. So I thought that was interesting that they named those ships after that. But there was a moment where he says "human," and I get all serious. Cut it out, man. Don't play with me right now. This is serious. We're about to not see each other for a long time. Give me a hug. See you later. And that was a good moment. It was a special moment.
Yeah, and I think it kind of validated that relationship really more so than anything in the first season. It might not have worked in the first season because they had to build up that relationship. But now it's been properly built up to where people can be sad that, oh no, Jake and Nog, the two friends, aren't going to see each other. I think more so than any of the other relationships, just because, these kids aren't soldiers. They're kids. They're having fun. They each have one friend, and now they're not going to see their friend, Yeah. Not to mention that your dad is just like, I know you don't have a mom, but see ya. Good luck out there.
Yeah. Good luck out there in that refugee camp you'll be in. Yeah. And there was also a moment where it was like Jake says he's been bouncing around his whole life. He kind of reveals that he doesn't like having an unstable life, and he's highlighting like, look, this is just further evidence of how unstable my life has been, and now I have to say bye to my friend that I've gotten to know, and I've come to like this place a little bit.
You know what I want to see? I want to see all the cool Star Trek nerds out there do a fan fiction episode about the 2 weeks that Jake was gone. Just where'd he go? What happened? What friends did he make? Did he get that writing bug? Did he meet a cool, cute little Bolian girl? What happened?
Yeah, where was he? Was he staying with his grandpa? Did he go stay with his grandpa or?
Oh, that
I don't know.
Might have been it.
But it was interesting because Nog says, well, I think that's where they're taking the families of Starfleet. I guess, we're both going to separate locations.
Yeah.
And then, the foreshadow there is that, eventually Nog would be part of the Starfleet. So I thought that picked up on that little line right there.
See, but you weren't, and I looked at that scene closely, and you weren't a family. You were just a 14 or 15-year-old kid. And I was watching when you went into the shuttlecraft to see if like somebody would put their arm around you and say, it's your godfather or your aunt or something like that, and say, come, you're staying with us for, nope, just a bunch of families. And then some teenage boy just sitting by himself going, I guess I'll just go sleep in a tent on an asteroid for a couple of weeks. If my dad dies, I guess just make sure I'm well fed. That's it.
Yeah. And then, we saw baby Hannah, in that scene with the Keikos.
Yes.
The O'Briens. Yeah. And that was so great just to see just how little she was being carried by Column in that scene.
Yeah. Well, she's still kind of little.
Yeah, but it was just great.
She said something like, "Are you going too, Daddy?" or something like that.
Yeah. So we got a lot of that. And that's what I liked about this episode is there were so many short, small little scenes that were impactful. I thought that were good and compacted, but also impactful. Yeah.
And in that scene, not to skip out on that scene with Chief and Keiko and Molly, Keiko gets a lot of flack from the Star Trek fans. She gets a lot of flack as like an annoying character. But she said a line, that I think all of us were kind of thinking a little bit, and all of us would say in her shoes when O'Brien was like, "Hey, I gotta go," and she's like something like, "Are you sure?" And he says, "Well, if we leave, then they're gonna take, Bajor back, or they're gonna take, the station." And she says, "They're gonna have the whole Gamma Quadrant for all I care." It's like she's like, "What do I care about Bajor, man? Like, you're risking your life. They can have the whole Gamma Quadrant. I'm just trying to keep my family together."
My family together, yeah. Which is, this is the sacrifice that they're making, and I guess that's probably why the fans don't like her attitude. Is not really that supportive. But she's right in a sense, she's right in a way. That's what matters to her,
Yeah.
And they don't know what they're getting into when they stay behind. I think that was the big risk. I mean, there were only like 20, 30 guys that showed up at the station, right? To commandeer it, to take over. And it was like, all right,
Pretty manageable.
They said, yeah, pretty manageable. It wasn't like Sosa when he went to kill Scarface. He didn't say, he sent more guys to get Scarface than they sent to take over DS9. But yeah, it was like 20, 30 people, and it wasn't like a resistance so big where they would be fearful of it. I could imagine if there was 100, 200 guys in there running and storming the ship, they would say, "All right, let's get out of here." But it was pretty fair odds as far as that was concerned.
I just thought of in the goodbye scene with you and Avery as well, because there are like 4 or 5 goodbye scenes, which I thought was maybe 1 or 2 too many, but I wouldn't know which one to take out because they were all kind of important.